Well, it is November 12th, 2021. And she joined me out here at this beautiful view of the lake. It is really quite awesome. My little puppy's here with me, checking out some of the changes that we've been making. It's a beautiful, clear day. You can see Anitzio, Napizero, Yunwen, the island whose name I always forget, Pacanda, one of my favorite islands in the lake, actually. I really like that one. And we made a lot of changes out here. I'm still kind of digging out from being out of service for a while. We fixed the old view of the lake down here. There's a trail that goes to it. Over there, it switches back to make it real easy. And I actually have a way I want to do switchback trails that also have a stairway that go up it that doesn't conflict with that. Or I might separate those two, but I can have them be in the same place, I'm pretty sure. I think I can do it. And that's a little more private spot down here. This big spot up here, there's the cabana over there that I live in. Is a lot of people have used this for like yoga, stuff like that. There have been capoeira things out here and all kinds of events here. Since those times, we've made a really cool garden right in here that has all kinds of succulents and cacti and magueys, and it has a mix of stuff and some oak trees and madrone trees as well. That just kind of breaks this area off from the rest of the mesa up here, this big flat area. Today, friends of mine came over, and they weed whacked all this area because the wildflowers are just crazy this year, and they're everywhere else. I wouldn't worry about it. We cut down a spot for people to use. Got some metal chairs out here, some metal furniture that is really great. Comes from a town across the lake. I think it's cast aluminum or something. But sometimes they break, but usually they don't if they're not misused. And then another thing I had them bring up here was some rocks I had in a couple spots, and I've got some more. These come from a town called, see those? Quaneo, which is somewhere over there. But it's not in this municipio, it's not in this county, it's somewhere over there. But they have different kind of rocks than I have here. They're like smoother. And a guy that I hired to do some rock work a long time ago bought those for me, and they fit together better than the rocks I have here. The rocks I have here just look like rocks. These look like you would make a cool fireplace with them. He made a sink with it. He made a base for a totem pole. And so I'm actually going to talk to him and see if for future projects, I might want to use those. And then I'll talk to him also about using the rocks I've got and how the style of that would be very different. But it's nice to have this cleared out space because everything is grown over. And so we're actually fighting to recover roads that were grown over with some really thick native plants here. I don't know if they're native or not, but they're really annoying. And they're hard to get rid of. They don't die when you cut them down. They just come right back. So you have to cut them down for years and then dig them up when they're weak. It's tough. Over here I noticed I've got a bamboo coming up, and we put that in 2 years ago. We buried a pole right here, and the ground was very hard. We did it over there as well. One tiny bit of it's coming up right now, and the other one's coming up, and it's a little bit taller. Still not very big. But this is just great. The rainy season, I guess, is officially over. It lasted forever, which I'm happy about. But I'm also really happy to just be in some sunshine. It got very kind of drizzly and cold. Nights are still cold because I'm way up here at a high elevation. And so the sun is super strong. But that's good because now I can do things like start using my solar oven again. I'm not a huge fan of this solar oven anymore. I used to like it a lot. But the evacuated tube solar hot water heaters can be redesigned or added to a system that has both solar with a fire assist. I guess they could have a propane assist. It really doesn't matter. But given that you know, the solar hot water heater is going to be outside, and then there's going to be shade near it for people who are cooking and prepping things and then filling up that solar thing. It could be the pot itself isn't the pot or the skillet or the oven, because I have designs for all of these things that I want to do this way. I need to probably work with engineers or people who are handier than me. I'm not that handy a guy. People think because I live here that, you know, I'd be a handy guy, and that would be helpful. But I'm really a design guy. I look at systems and try and figure out what we can do where and what the long-term effect is. I'm getting my pea garden, my urine garden over here going again. This time I'm just putting succulents in it, but I hadn't been using that because I wasn't staying in a place where it was easy. Here's a blue agave, which is in the agave family, just like the magueys are, the ones that I have over there. This one's used for tequila, those are used for mezcal. Also got over here, we had to kind of dig up because they were just getting grown over everywhere. I've got these cool hexagonal tiles right here. And I'm gonna, the original plan with those, I mean, they were left over from a tiling project on a porch. But my original reason I set them aside was because they're hexagonal, and I like this game called Settlers of Catan. You may have heard of it, it's quite popular. And I want to do a big table, probably outside, and have kind of slightly weighted paper mache mountains and bricks, and it have these resources in the game, right? And then you build little towns and stuff. And it's a very really simple, straightforward, strategic game. You can play it with 3 to 4 players. I don't know what I like better, 4 or 3, but this is more than enough tiles to build that table. And then I can also have, I could have expansion packs to it. I don't know if I'll bother with that. I like the elegance of the game, just simple as it is. A lot of junk in here, sticks and things. It's not really set up for comfortable human use of some kind right now. A lot of people would probably put grass in here, in this whole area, but I would not. I would not do that. That's because I don't want to mow it, and I don't want to get an animal that mows it. And I'm just kind of anti-lawn. I've got 83 acres here, and I have 0 amounts of lawn. Now I'm not saying it'll always be that way. I can see why you might want bits of lawn somewhere. And I can even imagine courtyards in which you let some rabbits in for a while, and the rabbits trim it for you, because I don't really want to have a lot of the kind of grazing animals that you can have. What are you doing now? What are you doing, honey? That's Frida. Frida's all covered in burrs, because this is the burr season in November, and the cosmos become little spikes that get stuck in your clothes, and then there's little round burrs that get on you as well, and she's all fuzzy. I wear shorts and sandals, and so they don't get on me as much because, well, first of all, we're trying to clear those out of the trails, because if you were here and walking around, you wouldn't want to be covered in burrs so much that you wanted to throw your socks out. Or you could just adjust to it like I do. But really, we should have clear trails that are pretty wide. Like a lot of them should at least be 2 people wide. Single lane roads work just fine, dirt roads, and they grow over on the sides anyway. I mean, it really is it could be an all-year maintenance task just to keep this place functioning, at least in the way I'm envisioning it. And I'm increasing wildlife habitat and biodiversity and everything, and just collecting lots of cool plants. One of my local friends, when he's out somewhere and he sees a plant that I don't have, usually a native one, he'll bring me seeds of it or a plant. And once we got, even one plant, then we can have as much as we want. I'm not even sure what's growing out of this bucket right here. I did some experiments during the rain. This one has a pineapple in it, which probably won't live. It's just not the right climate. It's not Hawaii. But there's these really long blades of something. And my friend said it looked like it was chuspata, a reed that's in the lake. I don't know how that would have gotten up here, but maybe it's true. Another big change about this particular exciting location, and this I guess is officially the view, that's what it's called, because it has a view of the lake. Well, it didn't used to have much of a view up here. You had to walk down this trail to a lower spot. But now, we've done two things here. One is that we girdled some trees in order to create a bigger view. So now I've got this snag out there, this tree snag, a dead tree. And the trunks aren't quite as thick as I'd like because part of the experiment was to see if the woodpeckers would love to use that as housing. Right now they generally use pines when they die, like from a lightning strike or something. I get some heavy weather up here sometimes, some pretty big storms that really pound, you know. It's kind of fun, I like it, as long as I don't get hit by lightning. I need to get a lightning rod. I need to get more than one lightning rod, actually. So anyway, that's kind of this nice spot out here. There's an odd thing over here where we had a wood pile for firewood. And I've let most of it rot since I don't really actually have fires up here much. It's too windy. I am constructing some wind-protected fire spaces in groves. And I might even get a truck of sand or something and put it in there. As far as what I'm going to put here in this spot, instead of grass, I think I might put sawdust. It's free at the mill, which isn't really free because you got to take it from the mill. And to cover this area would be a whole bunch of like truckloads, pickup truckloads, you know, the way I'm envisioning it. What it'll do is it'll keep all the plants down, make a nice soft surface that we can easily maintain. I've done 2 experiments with sawdust in the forest here and just left it. And those weren't really intentional experiments. It was just that I got too busy, you know. And so, but it was interesting to see how it took like 4 or 5 years before they really grew over it all. And if they were being maintained in any way, then they would stay just fine for a long time. God, I love living here. Now that the winter nights are getting cold, every day is going to be warm and sunny like this. In fact, it's almost too much sun. You can actually get a sunburn out here, which is one reason to have like polycarbonate roofs, although that's not a material I like. But anything translucent, like maybe a greenhouse with safety glass that was translucent so it made diffuse light. That would be the ideal here. That'd be the way you want to sit in the sun. Sitting out here, even just walking around late, you know, this time of day, you get hot, you get sweaty. The guys who were helping me out just quit for the day, and they're going to go do some stuff with some plants down at the lodge. So that's pretty cool. The other thing we're doing is growing all these trees around this terraza, around this porch here. And there's going to be kind of like a tree doorway. A couple of them, actually. I think it's funny, I have allergies and I live in a forest. Oh well. But this is the terraza. And believe it or not, it is not as much of a mess as it was. Got a fire pit out here now, and I've lit a few fires in it. But, you know, if it's not wind protected, I don't like it when it gets windy and then there's sparks flying around. Because even though it's not the most intense part of the dry season yet, when there's a forest fire risk, it still just is a bad thing. So I don't know that I'll actually be doing that. Growing the trees as densely as I am around it will probably reduce that problem. Usually the wind is coming off the lake, but then in the evening it switches to go towards the lake, generally speaking. This is part of my extremely simple way of living. I've got my bucket here of water that I fill up from a hose, and then it goes into a bucket down here. And the reason I did that, because I could have just run the hose right into it and hooked it all in like regular plumbing, but I want people to be highly conscious of the amount of water they use here, because that's all I got right up there for the next 6 months. And it might look like a big tank, but you know, if you used water in a normal way, then it would run out real quick. And then I have a couple places that are mouse proof. Not very many, unfortunately. Yeah. And then I have the rest of my kitchen inside, which is totally inconvenient. And another way to save water is I have to go inside the house or outside the house if I want to get water, and water's often important for cooking things. But I've been cooking real simple. I'm getting basically this is all part of me trying to clean my life up a little bit. Apparently my face too. Doesn't that look weird? Looks really weird to me. I look in the mirror and it surprises me, even though I've done this before a whole bunch of times. I've got a desk out here. One problem is that this floor is completely dusty. It's dirt floor. It's terrible. So if a dog wags their tail, it kicks up a cloud of dust. And the wind blows dust around, and so everything out here gets kind of dusty. I'm probably going to concrete it in, and I just got an estimate on how many bags of cement that's going to cost, and how many people I would need for how many days. 4 people for 2 days, 20 bags of cement, one tonelada, 1 ton. That's a lot of cement just to fix a kind of dumb problem. We did once try putting pine resin on it. That did not work out well, although it has worked in some buildings, kind of. As a flooring thing, I don't think for earth floors it's really great. And of course, it's an outdoor earth floor, which is worse than some of the other ones I have. You know, if you were just walking around in there lightly, then it wouldn't be that bad inside. So earth floors can work, but not this one. It is just not okay. Got all these buckets around here because I've got like my resin chips for lighting a fire, my tiny kindling, my bigger kindling, and then my firewood, which I've got tons of course. I've got firewood just laying around rotting, but I don't mind that either. Like this pile over here, I actually put a conch on it. It's called a conch. It's a type of fungus that grows on trees. In this case, it grew on an oak stump. And here it is. Isn't that cool looking? I don't know if you could make art with it. Somebody could. What I'm doing is I'm just setting it on top of this stack of wood here. In this case, it's pine. It should be oak, but I don't have a stack of oak. And I'm trying to infect the wood with that particular fungus. So, you know, I'm surrounded by all these cool projects going on. There's a garden out here that is a shaded garden, which may seem weird. Usually you want as much light as you can get, but again, at this elevation, I'm almost at 8,000 feet. And so I don't know what amount of radiation I get that's more than sea level, but it's a lot of radiation. I have been walking around because I have some things happen that made me kind of weak, and I've been in bed a lot in the last couple years, not doing what I should be doing all the time. Inside this cabana is a total ridiculous mess. You know, I have poor systems at the moment. Internet's out, so I'm recording this on my phone, and I'll upload it later, I guess, if it comes back. And I've also realized, as a result of that I need to reconnect to my old service as well, my old internet service. So I have 2 options. That's extremely important because, like, the kind of jobs I want to get online, you just can't not be there. You know, I used to work in the software industry, and if I did do that again, the kind of work I have done is the kind that, you know, you're working 60, 70 hours a week. I used to sleep in the office, and I got paid well for that. And I would like to get paid well again if I'm going to work. I guess I could look for some other kind of job, like teaching English online or something like that, but the difference in pay is pretty massive. And also, I like working with software. That's why I've always done it. I mean, I started playing with computers when I was in 6th grade. It was the first time. It was a TRS-80, I believe, or TRS something. Maybe it was before that. And it had just a cassette tape drive to store your code on, and you could actually listen to it. It was just beeps and boops and stuff. But then I worked on through all the rest of my life in Seattle. I worked when I went to college, I paid for it by working in software, and I just kept working in it because I love the puzzles of it. I worked in testing, was my favorite job. I have worked in program management. I've worked in tech support. I was a tech support manager at a very small company, which meant I was the entire tech support department. Um, I actually don't like doing phone tech support. I find it very, very difficult to do. I do need to set myself up here to have a really good office with very good webcam and audio and, professional backgrounds. I own one suit. I think I might, you know, actually shave clean and put a picture on LinkedIn with me in a suit. Maybe use the name I used when I was working because I switched names a couple times in my life for reasons, um, both of which are legal names. But I use Brian Fay as kind of my artistic name, my social name, and that's how I think of myself. When I went to high school, I was Brian Fay. From when I was 5 years old till I graduated high school, I was Brian Fay. Actually, it was pronounced Fay, but I pronounce it Fay because everybody else does, and I don't want to keep correcting them. Anyway, part of this is just kind of an update because I haven't been updating. I wanted to update for donors and supporters, and I know sometimes I sound kind of nuts. That's because I am. I mean, it's been a long 17 years in the woods, and all kinds of crazy experiences have happened. And of course, the recent couple of years have been extra rough, like in the extreme, um, not just physically, but psychologically as well. And then the pandemic, it was not very helpful. I have had a total of, I believe, 5 individuals visit me since April, other than my friends from town. And, we don't sit around and shoot the shit a lot. We talk about plants and spaces and sculpting trees. And, we have a fairly limited, well, actually, there's a lot of topics we talk about, but, it's not like a deep friendship kind of thing. So I even got a person, there was a person who stayed here a year. You probably saw her in videos, Sherilyn. She gave me these weights. Even they're dirty. Everything here is dirty. And I don't care that much. I mean, I've been wearing this Cora shirt for 2 months or so. I haven't taken a shower. I've changed my sheets twice since April. I'm like a really dirty pig. And I don't care about that much. I don't think it seems to affect my health in any way. But, you know, it would it would affect me if I actually was hanging out with people in more intimate settings. Um, which is another project I need to do is I have to build, I think it's a requirement really if I'm going to get this place going again. I have to build a really good spa system, that has like uh, a rinse down and maybe even a scrub down. And I guess it depends on if you're getting into a sauna or a hot tub. But, and of course water is a big issue. One of the reasons I don't shower is because I'll run out of water. Um, but saunas fix that problem. But I want to do that, and that's going to cost tens of thousands of dollars. Just it's really easy to underestimate how much a project's going to cost. But I know what stuff costs generally. I know what labor I have to work with, what materials I need to get. And the sauna would be round, probably like a Temescal, which could be used as a Temescal or just as a sauna. And also, if I preheat it with evacuated tube solar hot water heaters, then it would always be hot, and it could have a fire assist, especially if the firelight comes into the sauna. It would be really pretty. So yeah, it's a complicated type of project, and that's just one of many. We've been spending the last months that I've been more getting back in the swing of directing things around here a little bit. Uh, we've done so great on plants. They're going to go water some plants. I have enough water if I don't have people here. I have enough water to actually water plants, and last year was the first year we did that, and it went really well. Uh, we still were cautious about how much we used, but this year it's mid-November, and all my cisterns are completely full, which has never happened before. It's fantastic, and I still want to get my gutters fixed up because sometimes there's like weird rains in January or February, and so if I'm low on water in any part of the system, I can get back to full if my collection's good, and I have the storage for it, and then I can. I mean, even though I've really enjoyed getting really stingy with water, I've enjoyed the process of living how a lot of people in the world do, and they don't have easy access to water. They literally don't have water on tap, and I think that the way industrial civilization is set up, it is designed to waste water. And people will try and mention, oh, your household use isn't that much. It's other stuff, and it is other stuff, but that stuff serves you too. So it's certain kinds of agriculture, the way that agriculture is even done, and the world is falling because of it. I mean, there are places right now. Where was a place I just saw a video on? I think it was in California. The land is actually sinking. There's a place in some other state where they have massive conflicts about indigenous water rights based on treaties, and then what's been promised by the government to farmers. And everybody's pissed off at each other, of course. Essentially, we don't have enough water to live the way we're living. And so this whole thing is a big experiment in using far, far less water, because most of it just gets wasted. And I have all these little tiny tricks and things. The other thing is I don't consume that much. I consume things that are in season. I don't know every single item that I eat, how much water it uses, and I have a spreadsheet of every single ingredient I use. But I guess there's certain things that use more. I guess, is it pecans or something, or one of those nuts uses a crazy amount of water. I'm growing nuts here without irrigating them at all. I mean, I was afraid my walnut tree over there was dead. It's about 3 or 4 meters tall now, and it certainly isn't. I mean, it's growing really slow, and I don't fertilize it and I don't water it. That's because it has to live on its own. And then hopefully I'll get some. I'll be even more nuts. I was going to mention about this garden. This one is in. It gets direct light in the morning, and then it gets barely any in the hotter part of the day. And this particular roof up here does not have a gutter on it. I'm not collecting water off of it. That's because essentially it's a drip garden, so that even the dew will fall down there. And of course, when it rains, it falls down there. And so a whole different kind of plants are going to grow in here. And we've got all the kinds of ones we're testing. I've got a fig over there. I've got papyrus right here. Here's a mint. We just put these in this year. They're actually from an earth roof. I'm using cedar that I've cut the branches in certain spots as a green wall. And that's what I mean when I say I'm kind of trying to sculpt trees around it to block the wind, and maybe then it won't be as dusty. I still think I'm going to have to use concrete, which I want to put in the budget, coloring for the concrete. And I don't want it to be green, because then it might seem like it's kind of fake grass or something. And, fake things bug me sometimes. And I thought about black, especially for the part that the morning sun hits, so it would warm it up in this space. I could do that, but as my friend pointed out, black looks kind of dirty a lot, especially here. And I think I'm going to go with a tile kind of red. We use a lot of tiles around here. Even this Anduline roof up here is not tile, but it's colored like tile, and it just feels a little bit better. So yeah, if I did the concrete floor that way, it might be kind of cool. I could learn about concrete a little bit more and see if I can kind of mix waves of color into it, but that's trickier. I don't know how to do it, you know. I have to look at some YouTube videos and stuff. But, God, every time I look in the mirror, it just freaks me out. uh, yeah, but so I'm trying to figure things out. Clean up, and then I'll clean myself up, and then I'm going to attack the inside. And I might actually move to a different building while that's going on. Because, yeah, especially if I can get internet down there. I have two internet boxes I want to hook up. And I have line of sight to the other building, which is 200 yards that way. And then one box will send the internet signal to that other house. That would be really cool. And it's really cold in this building at night because there's no fireplace or anything. And, you know, it just gets cold. So like even having a fire out here at night isn't even that comfortable because you have to be wearing ski gear to do it. Although the bigger problem is really the wind. What else has been going on? Internet problems, computer problems. All kinds of issues going on. But the legs are getting better. Really damn slow. But I can walk into a town a little under 2 kilometers away. I haven't actually measured the new trail or the old trail very well. But so that's my exercise currently. And then today I walked in a big circle in an area where my friend weed whacked out all the plants that are covering the roads, you know, and they're also covered in those dang burrs. What else would you want to ask me about how I'm doing? People often ask me that, and I don't know how to answer. The answer is very different from day to day and time of day. The nights are long and dark right now. I have one candle I use and some rechargeable flashlights, but other than that, I'm dead in the water at night. I have discovered that Wi-Fi does not use that much electricity, and so if I'm on my phone, I can use my phone at night. But you know, I'm a creator. I like to type things. I'm used to a laptop. I type fast, and these little phones, you got to poke your finger at them, little tiny buttons, and I miss all the time and misspell things. It's so annoying. I guess I could look into some other systems, especially since living the way I do, I need backup systems, and especially if I'm going to work online. So I need like a keyboard I can attach to it, maybe even a monitor, although that wouldn't work until I can get my batteries replaced. I used to have plenty of electricity for one person, maybe even two, to use it at night. But I talked to an electrician about the brand of batteries I use, which is LTH, and I had ones that said golf on them. Well, they don't have that on their website anymore. They don't sell those. They have ones that they call solar. And he said I could just swap them out directly. But I don't like that they don't have numbers on them. You know, they don't have amp hours and just information about the dang batteries. And the website is not very helpful either. And, you know, it's a big expense. You know, each battery is going to cost something, I forgot. But it's going to be over $1,000. And then there'll be all the labor in replacing them. But of course, the alternative is to not have any electricity exactly when you would want it. You know, I'm stumbling around in a dark room with a bunch of junk everywhere. I have truly created my own hell, but at least it's mine. So I actually kind of like it. A lot of people give me advice on how not to be a dumbass, but you know, I live the way I do by choice. It's not necessarily how I want other people to live, which is why I mentioned things like the sauna, because, you know, I want people to be happy, comfortable, clean. I want them to have a very comfortable experience while they're here, but with way less resources. And I want them to leave. People have left here saying, wow, I did not know I could use so little. I didn't know I could produce so little garbage. Some people are quite proud of that because I usually tell them collect all your garbage and have it in a bag, and it's your responsibility. I don't want your garbage. But the way I do things, the way I buy things here, I buy in bulk, and there's things I can do that avoid most kinds of packaging. Not all of them; it's imperfect. But there's just a massive collection of ways we can make small changes to life that could get us back in tune with the earth, that could have us not be industrial world pigs, and living like emperors while other people don't even have anything to survive with, while their water is being stolen, and ultimately, the people who are fighting over water, they got to understand that's the direction it's all going. It's not like you can win that fight. Civilization is going to drain every drop of water possible until we run out. It's just like the oil situation, and gasoline. The world that exists now cannot continue to exist. So I choose to live in a different way. And I was thinking this morning, I just take everything to the extreme, but I was thinking of writing a book of everything I think. I might want to narrow that down. But really, how we could change how we live and actually live in a far more fulfilling way. And that goes for our interpersonal relationships as well. I'm no paragon of that, believe me. I'm a real nice guy. I'm a total sweetheart, but I get frustrated with some kinds of people, and so I've chosen just to not have people here. Of course, the pandemic has made that easy, and not being a functional person who can walk around. But now that I'm getting back together, and I'm stretching out and stuff, and I just want to fix myself up. I also want to fix myself up for other people, and not take some of the damage that I've had in the past and continue it into my future life. Even things like walking over to the cemetery. I just posted a video about that. Or did I? Nope. Didn't have internet and couldn't. What was my problem? I don't know why I didn't post that. But I will post it. And maybe I did post it. I think it's private. Sometimes I ramble on to say things I shouldn't say just because it needlessly upsets people. Even like criticizing industrial world lifestyle is rude of me, by many people's standards. I'm telling them not to live the way that they're comfortable living. But I think that often the way that they're living is hypocritical because it goes against their own values. Now, of course, there's other people who couldn't give a shit at all, and they find the entire idea of caring about the environment at all offensive, really. Yeah, but those people are not people I'll probably be dealing with very much because they won't tend to like what I say, and I can't offer them what they want. I want this to always be a pretty dang rustic place, and I want coming here to be a matter of surviving in a way that is so different that people will see a different vision of how we could live, and that hopefully when they leave here, that they could implement at least some of those things in their life. I realize that most people would not want to permanently live like I do. I don't even want to live permanently like I do. It is an experiment, and it's like a monk sort of would renounce a lot of things in order to focus on things differently in what I think is a better way, obviously. But I do take it to an absolute extreme, and so I want to fix up all the cabanas. I've got a bunch of cabanas. I want to have nice big strong tents with real beds in them for glamping. I know that word bugs people for some reason. It doesn't bug me at all. It means glamorous camping, I think. Pretty sure. But basically camping with without laying on the ground and stuff like that. I don't even like that kind of camping. I mean, I'll do it. I have done it. I've gone out in the beautiful mountains and I've camped in a tent and cooked on a fire and stuff, or a camp stove. But because I'm not moving around, because I live in the forest, I'm not visiting it, there's a lot of systems I can put in place that actually make things way more comfortable. Like cooking with wood, for example. and I don't even do it as well as I could do it. Like one of the ovens I designed sucks because the fire is pointed the wrong way and you can't get around the sides of it. That was my design, and it was dumb. Uh, so I can make better ways of cooking with charcoal also. We're going to use some oak that we downed to make charcoal out of it. I would rather see it go towards making art. And I'm going to go talk to my friend who's a carver and see if he wants to try oak. I mean, I know it's a hard wood. It's tough work, but it's really strong and it will last a long time. Like even these chairs we made over here, that chair and that chair and that chair, that one's the best one. It has the best angle in the back of it. I want to get that copied. A friend of mine made it here, but we're using a generator in the carpinteria in the carpentry shop, and I don't want to use power tools here really like that. If we're gonna do that kind of thing, I want to use hand tools. And there are woodworkers who use hand tools, but I can assure you it's more work probably. Although machines break, so they're kind of annoying. But in this case, I would take it to some people in town, the chair, and I'd say, hey, look, I want an exact copy of this. Can you make me one? Because I also want to, I'm getting, now that I'm getting myself back in the groove, I'm thinking more again in what kind of community projects the Bosque can be related to, and certainly encouraging products that are made by values I like and local people is a great thing to do. And if I try to either myself have various businesses or just encourage other people to do it by being a customer who says, hey, can you do this thing? Then it builds a local economy, and that's better for everybody. I'm also working on food security. That's a big part of this project. I believe that food insecurity is very likely to be occurring in the future. It already is in a lot of the world, and we're destroying soil and stuff. I mean, you remember the Dust Bowl? I don't. But that was because the soil wasn't being treated well, it's my understanding. And then they destroyed their topsoil in some places. And then those people had no income or way to survive, and then the bank comes and takes their house away because they have a mortgage. One thing I don't have on this place is a mortgage. And even though I'm desperate for cash, that mostly goes, in this case, for my friends to help me out and do these cool projects, and also to host people and try and live this way. I think that having a mortgage over your head is very dangerous, and I understand it could work. And I'm expecting there to be a lot of inflation, which I think, wouldn't you win if you had a mortgage and there was inflation? Because then you would not, the amount you needed to pay would not be as valuable anymore. Of course, if there's really bad inflation, it's going to hurt a lot of people. And so it's actually not something I would wish upon any society. But with the amount of money we're currently printing in 2021, and we have been printing since what, the 70s? We went off the gold standard. Was it Nixon that took us off the gold standard? For the backing the dollar with actual gold. And now we have the petrodollar, I guess, which is going to have other issues. And it's fiat currency. It's fake money. It's just made up. It's it's more made up than Bitcoin is. Although I don't really understand cryptocurrencies entirely. I kind of do, but. So I'm figuring out how I can reopen the place and have people here again and set some social expectations about how things work here and how they don't work here. I don't know if you've ever worked with the public or not, or had a lot of housemates, most of whom don't pay and want to do everything their way, which is often contrary to what I want to do with what I've invested my life into. And that can cause sometimes conflicts. And so I want to be very clear about social agreements. I'm sure my mother would approve with that, since that's what she thinks I should do, is have very clear written social agreements about what expectations are. Right now I have a liability waiver and a model release for being in videos. And not everybody has to be in videos, but Those are my two legal forms I have. I should actually have one that is really a social form that is less about, the law and more about the culture of the space and what the expectations here are. Because I do have fairly strong opinions about how we use energy, how we use time, and of course, people could come here in a wide variety of roles. Um, but one of those roles is not really tourist, I don't think. I'm just not interested. Many people have pressured me that I should start like an eco resort. They believe it's a great idea. I think they should go do it. I don't want to run one. And it's possible that parts of the Bosque could be actually run as an eco resort. I've done a lot of work with figuring out land use, and it could be that the south and the north sides do actually have, public camping. I wouldn't mind having like van campers. I can't handle big campers. My roads are not going to work for that. But if people actually wanted to pay to stay here, I could easily make infrastructure, if they're coming in an RV or something, that would support that. Composting toilets and a roof that they can park next to so that they're out of the sun or the rain, whatever it is. And then have a community fire pit somewhere nearby. I don't know. But so my future is totally unknown right now. It does seem weird that I'm thinking about getting a job online and working my ass off, when I get so many people want to come here for free. I got really frustrated and just stopped checking email entirely before Day of the Dead, because every single time it's Day of the Dead, even though my profile, like on Couchsurfing, for example, and on a couple other sites, it says that I don't accept people for just Day of the Dead. They all want to come for 2 nights. They want to make sure they don't pay anything. And this is not a good place to come for Day of the Dead. It's too hard to get in and out, and it's too dark, at night. And I don't like people driving around at night or walking on trails, or it just isn't right. I do have some thoughts about how I could do a Day of the Dead next year here and have it actually be like a week-long experience, which would happen to include Halloween in the middle of it. And I would keep that separate from Day of the Dead. But, I want people to not just go look at it like tourists or call it a party. People online are like, I want to go to the Day of the Dead party. And it is true. I just saw videos on YouTube, and they are partying their asses off in big parades in Mexico City and other cities. And I think that's fine. I got no problem with that. Those people want to be in the city. They want to do what they're doing. But, I see it as a really magical time in so many ways. Even going over to the cemetery this year, I went after Day of the Dead, seeing the gravestones and recognizing a lot of the names. And there's a lot of new graves this year too. And some of those are COVID related, because I know people who got COVID and died, and I've known people here who got real sick and, for weeks, and were on oxygen and stuff. And boy, that's one of the reasons I've been avoiding it. I know a lot of people think what I say about COVID is bullshit, but I'm sorry, I don't feel like getting it yet. And I will get vaccinated when I can, and there's some things I got to do first. But, and it doesn't hurt me to not do it right away because of my lifestyle. It's easy for me to live isolated. It's not fun. I want to be more social again, and I might find ways to have people here and still socially distance. I do feel like some of the people who are like, oh, it doesn't matter, it's, you'll be fine, are kind of rude when they kind of get in your face about it, literally, because they don't happen to believe in it. I think that's like, that's really rude. I'll set my own risk level and what I'm comfortable with. I mean, it's just like if you're having sex with somebody, you have some kind of shared agreement about what kind of safety precautions you want to take, or even what agreements you want to make, whether it's for diseases or for social reasons. Excuse me. And so for the many years that I hosted people, I had so many different experiences with all kinds of people. It's really, I mean, if you ever had problems with a housemate, imagine a really different fucked up dynamic where you had lots of young people who think the world is their toy, and that didn't work for me. So as I think about this, I like want to do it, but I have a whole bunch of things in me that say, no, don't do it. Now I do have a form, an application you have to fill out. That gets rid of most people. It's not a very friendly form. If I had a team of people here, and this gets back to what I have to do to really get started, is partner with some really amazing people who are here and understand the concept, the various concepts, and how they can be a benefit to the place as well as how they can benefit. So it's win-win, because I tell you, a lot of people not looking for that, and that doesn't work here. I care more about the forest than people who come here. This is my life's work. I can't imagine that there's anything more important I could be doing with my life. Of course, I'd still like to work on software and get paid. It does seem weird, though, that so many people want to come here for free, but then what happens when I'm working 60 hours a week so that they can play? And then I have to do extra work to make sure that they're having a good time and support other people here to have them have a good time. That's just really sick and twisted. And, like I said, I just stopped checking messages. I stopped even reading email, which is bad. I mean, normally I read email every day, and I haven't read email for probably 2 weeks, just because it gets old, And unfortunately, I do miss out on some really amazingly nice people, I'm sure, but those people should start a crowdfunding effort for their free travels, because they're not free for me. And it would feel really weird to be working my ass off like I did in the past, when they get all the benefits of it. I don't know how people justify that. I don't know how they were raised or what's wrong, but that's fucked up. That is just way fucked up. So if you do want to come here, do think about that. I do have to figure out a budget for this place, because like one woman, she said to me, well, what's your actual cost in having me there?